Okay, welcome to the next episode at Tkachuk Immigration. So we would like to maybe introduce our next guest. Please introduce yourself, Naga.
Yes, my name is Naga Obazee. I am a lawyer, barrister, and solicitor. I practice primarily immigration law. I practice from Toronto, Canada, and I'm also the president of the Canadian Association of Nigerian Lawyers, and I'm also the founder of ScholarX Inc. ScholarX Inc. is essentially a platform for international students to get directions in, their prospects as students and immigration as it relates to each other.
Wow, you actually have a lot of years of experience. Even like recently, you just told me you started when you were 16, basically.
Yeah, so I started my first degree, which was is a law degree, and I studied in England. So it's a bit different from the Canadian system. You can actually do your bachelor's in law. I don't believe you can do that here, but I did start a while ago, and I've been training and involved as a lawyer for a very long time. Do the math.
So you immigrated yourself as well to Canada, right?
I
And when
did.
was it?
Okay, so I arrived in Canada in I believe it was September 2012.
Okay.
Yeah, so I initially, of course, there was immigration involved, naturally moving from a different country. And I guess that was my first introduction to
To
immigration
prediction,
law,
yeah.
right? So, because
Yeah,
I processed my paperwork myself,
correct.
I got in touch with an immigration lawyer who, ultimately became my mentor here in Canada. But I pretty much worked the paperwork myself, and then I immigrated here as a student. I was studying in the University of Toronto's
Great.
Faculty of Law as an international student.
So you
Yeah.
always loved law and justice, right?
I
So
did. I did. I've had a flair for that for a very long time, since my early teens, So I've always had that inclination to, having people heard and just justice, pretty much.
I know.
Fairness as well.
So what was the first immigration case that you actually worked on?
Wow.
Do you remember that?
That's a good one. Damn. So I don't remember the specific one because, frankly speaking, apart from mine, if we're gonna
Yeah.
count that one, because that was the case that I did. But aside that, like more formally, I worked on several cases at the same time. So I can tell you which area of law it was in, and I think it was in refugee law.
Okay.
And also in humanitarian and compassionate matters.
Yeah.
But I was dealing with several cases at once, so I don't really remember which one I would say is the first.
But you have that justice as and refugee and humanitarian and compassion grounds. I feel like it's very balance of probabilities, fairness, and asking basically government to let someone stay on the basis that there's a risk to life, there's hardship back home, right?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
you have to provide strong proofs about it. Versus economic immigration, where I'm specializing in, it's more by the book, right? And you're more of humanitarian, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's why we love working together in certain cases. So I always reach out to you for advice on those cases.
I'm always available. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, and it's I'm really thankful for all the advice
Likewise.
that you gave me.
Likewise.
And you know what, I do want to talk to you a lot about these type of applications in this podcast because I was reading an article the other day, and it was about 2 million people, maybe more than that, in 2026. They're about to have their work permit expiring. What do you think about that?
Wow. I mean, it's shocking. It's not necessarily surprising, and it's very unfortunate. But it was designed, if you ask me, it's what the government wanted, right? So we got to a point where I think we had hit the highest point of permanent residency by way of being granted, or the influx of people sometime in 2024. And if I'm getting the numbers correctly, I think it was about close to 480,000 or thereabouts. So the government actually wanted to cut down on immigration, as they would say that it put a lot of burden and pressure on other sectors of Canada, like housing, infrastructures, and all those types of things. So I'm not surprised, but it really is unfortunate because now you have a lot of people that came into Canada maybe some years ago.
Several years they spent here.
Exactly, and invested their lives, invested their time and their money, and of course they want that ultimate ability to reside here permanently, and then it's almost like the rug is being just pulled from underneath their feet. So this is unfortunate.
What I advise them in the current situation, what I can do is that talk to your employers. Maybe there is a way to do the LMI, labor market impact assessment, right? They can apply for extension, but there's limitation for this LMI, right? At the same time, you can look for LMI exemption, right? So let's say spousal open work permits if you have your spouse here, right, and they meet the criteria, as well as visitor visa or study permit. Actually, it's another option. So you can come back to studies if you even studied before.
Yeah.
But there's so much you can do. But at the same time, there might be limits to this specific individual who doesn't have those options. Like study permit is expensive.
Yeah.
Visitor visa doesn't authorize you to work, right? And work permit, you need some sort of job offer or exemption, right?
Exactly.
And it's not easy to find a job offer and support from employer right now because there are so many limitations, and we need to prioritize Canadians actually, right?
Yep.
So because there's an unemployment rate really high. So in those kind of circumstances, what would you say is your way of saying how you can help them to find a way of finding a way to stay in Canada, right? Because we have all these options that I listed, but maybe there's something else that you can suggest.
Okay. You know what? It's interesting that you mentioned this because this has been an ongoing situation where clients approach lawyers and say, what is the best way for me to navigate my immigration circumstances now? It feels like I've hit the end of the road. I cannot continue to extend my temporary residence. There is no prospects for me for permanent residence. I've been in the express entry pool for God knows how long.
And
for instance, so high, all of that kind of thing. So we actually discussed this at the last immigration law summit we had by the Law Society of Ontario in November last year, November 2025. The unfortunate reality of it is that there will be people that are going to be caught off in this design by the immigration government to reduce their immigration in 2025, 2026, and I think at least foreseeable to 2028.
Yeah, until it stabilizes. Yeah,
exactly. So there will be people that unfortunately will find themselves, in situations where they don't necessarily have any legal pathways to stay in Canada. But it doesn't apply to all, right? There are a lot of people that may still have other options, right? And the other options can go from things like humanitarian and compassionate applications, which is a whole different story because there's a lot of changes with that in terms of the processing time. I'm hearing that the processing time is crazy.
I've seen that 10 years, right?
Imagine that.
Crazy.
Like, it's insane. I don't even know
how. I
do
tell people, it may be like, I don't know, RCC says it's 10 years. It may be sooner, maybe even longer. Who knows?
Exactly.
Like I work with Ukrainians and they generally go for that program because of the war, right? And I know in the past we had approvals, but now it's a wait time. So they have to understand that. And I've seen the numbers for the next plan.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not that big of a number for 2020.
No, it's not. But just to expand on that point, actually, it's good at what the immigration government did. It's with looking at the processing time, now you can see how many applications are ahead of you, right? So that's a good thing. But, it's just like you mentioned, you might have a strong enough case for humanitarian and compassionate application, for example, but the processing time is a different thing.
Yeah.
And what do you do in the meantime?
Yeah, but you don't have
a status in the meantime, right? So what do you do for 10 years? So I don't know how that's going to play out, but we will see. But aside that, I think it all just comes down to people that may find themselves in that circumstance actually having guidance from immigration experts, consultants or lawyers that are able to ask them the right questions.
Correct.
Right, to figure out what their circumstance is, because everyone's circumstance is different.
Yeah, and then it depends what they want, right? So for instance, I do have clients who have a great express entry profile, but sometimes leaving home and building extra experience from there, it makes sense.
Yep.
Or for instance, if you can find a remote job here and stay in Canada as a visitor or student and build extra remote federal skill work experience also makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But your case has to be specific, right? So I'm just being generic right now. At the same time, I do have clients, let's say, in the sense of inadmissibility, right? So they get refused and there's no way they can extend the stay. Let's say they apply for work permit extension, but the employer, let's say, said, I can't do it, or the LMI gets refused. You never know, right? So in that sense, they do have technically a restoration status, but not status, like a restoration period.
Yeah.
But would they, because I have clients asking me about TRP, temporary resident permits. Okay. So I've done few, but I always actually advise with you on these because I know you're a specialist, right?
Yeah.
So could you tell me more what TRP is and is it worth it or?
No, I mean, it's the TRP. A lot of people don't really know about that or even know how to navigate through that. Even the name itself, temporary residence permit, can be quite misleading.
Yeah. Sounds like TRV, right?
Exactly. There's that huge confusion that comes with that. But a TRP essentially is designed for foreign nationals that may have found themselves inadmissible. And even the inadmissibility, it's quite a broad net, right? You can find yourself inadmissible for several reasons, medically or criminally, or just for the fact that you overstayed and you lost your status, right? Because you didn't conform with the Immigration and Refugee Protection Act. So, anyways, what is it? It's a way for you to apply to the government and show them that you have reasons to remain in Canada,
Yeah.
right? And also, in my opinion, the second layer to that is show them why you should not return to your home country at this particular point. So there's a lot that goes into it,
Yes.
but it's an application.
It's almost like H&C application. It's pretty
It's very
big.
similar. It's very
Yeah.
similar, yes, in the sense that they consider quite similar factors, especially when it comes to why you shouldn't go back,
Correct.
right? And also why you should continue to remain.
And for what time period?
And for what time period? But it's a good application to make. We've dealt with a lot of those. I've also appealed a lot of refusals from that as well.
Yeah.
But it's certainly an option for folks that find themselves inadmissible,
Yeah,
right? But a very important thing to that also is it's for foreign nationals, because I've had some folks confuse it with a permanent resident who is now possibly losing their permanent resident status for whatever reason.
Really?
Maybe because you could lose your permanent resident status based on criminal convictions or things like that. So that it doesn't apply to that. You have to be a foreign national on a temporary resident status that is expired or no longer.
And what I like about TRP application, they actually can grant you a work permit status based on that TRP, right?
Exactly.
In comparison to a H&C application.
I was just going to say, great point. So that's a stark difference between the H&C and the TRP, right? So with the TRP, you do have a way of having a status like a work permit that allows you to have a meaningful life in Canada while you deal with other things. But the H&C, you're just waiting and hoping that the government finds you deemed of deserving that humanitarian and compassionate relief.
We spoke about the status, but there's also clients coming to me, and I do advise them to go to you right away, to be honest, because they ask me, can I apply for refugee status? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And if they lost their status, they think, okay, I need to get their refugee status. Maybe that I will be granted a work permit. But recently, government just removed so many refugee applications, right? So
yeah. So I'll tell you exactly what is going on with that. So just first of all, a lot of the problems with the refugee claims now, as far as the government is concerned, is that they believe that it's being abused.
Yeah.
So one thing that you want to let clients know is it's not a last resort type of application.
Correct.
It's an application for folks that genuinely face risk of harm if they were to return to their country of citizenship. And then even before I even go further, let's take a look at it just one step back. The history behind refugee law, coming from international treaties, the Refugee Convention, 1951, I believe. The whole idea is that you don't return people to places where they could, they could be hurt or harmed or even killed. So based on that, there's also a general requirement for you to apply as soon as possible.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Not wait until you have no longer any other options to apply. And then to the new law, it's not law yet, it's still a bill, it's the C-12 bill. And it essentially, I think it's the bill called Strengthening Canada's Immigration and Border Act or something like that. So basically what that is that it's creating certain limitations for refugee claims, right? And supposedly that law should be introduced maybe the first quarter of 2026. And one of the things is that it's limiting the amount of applications or the types of applications that can actually be referred for refugee claim. Yeah, so I think retroactively from June 2020, if you've arrived in Canada and stayed in Canada for more than 1 year before applying, then you're not eligible to apply for a refugee claim. But there's also the principle of refoulement. It's a French, I hope I said it correctly. It's a French word meaning no returning back something towards that effect. Exactly. So basically what that means is although you may not be eligible to make a refugee claim, you might have other ways to get protection.
There's always a way. I feel like there's a lot of immigration laws and policies, and there are ways to actually extend your stay. And I think if you're a client coming to me or Naga for this type of advice, I think we will review your file. But for a refugee claimant, I always say I don't recommend this if there's really no risk to life, because it's not just risk to a country. Like even like there's clients who say, oh, well, there's like a political movement like in my area. But what is the proof that you didn't move to, let's say, to another region of your country, right? And would they chase you there? You have to be really like politically, let's say, in that specific scenario, involved that certain individuals are trying to get you specifically, right?
Yeah.
There's like you move to another side of your,
Part of your country, yeah.
or and they still try to chase you. So
Yeah.
that should be really a strong file for that.
Yeah, definitely. So what you're saying is that, it's not just about not being able to return to your hometown, for example. You have to really establish that your entire country is not safe in every region that you may be.
Yes.
And it's a complex legal assessment, right? That of course we can't really go into today. But again, that's why lawyers are around. You just get proper representation and you can navigate.
And you're a specialist in it. I know you've been
we
doing
deal
a
with
lot of cases of that. So I truly advise, if you are truly feeling that you might be eligible, advice was Naga.
Sure, come see me.
So another thing is, I like sponsorship application personally. I deal with a lot of sponsorships, but you deal with the sponsorship appeals, right?
Yes.
So I remember when I was doing, I was working at the Payslip firm some time ago.
Yeah.
And one of the lawyers will take me to the courts, and I will like take notes and
so you shadow the lawyer.
Some crazy cases, and I enjoy them because I feel there was so much drama, and it's kind of a TV show. So I love sponsorship because I help clients and they are in love, and we show all these proofs, and I'm literally going through.
You're reading their love story, how they met, and all those types of things.
It's amazing. It's so great, and I love love. And for instance, when the file gets approved, and I actually just got a client emailing me, I'm engaged,
Wow.
And we submitted their common law file just this week. So I feel happy when I see those cases, but you also have to deal with the cases that might face risks of refusal. Well, they are refused, right? Due to whatever reasons. It could be an officer not believing they're genuine enough, or maybe there's misrepresentation or fraudulent documents. You never know, right?
Yeah.
So would you give me like some of the recent examples, and how do you actually appeal these cases? Do you get a lot of approvals, or like how long it takes to appeal the case?
Oh yeah, okay. That's very interesting. And yeah, I do enjoy that area as well. We at my law firm, we have folks that prepare these applications as well. But me personally, and some of the lawyers that I work with at the firm, we deal with when things go wrong, essentially, right? And so what the law on sponsorship applications are is essentially that you have to establish or show to the government that the marriage or common law union is genuine. Correct. And also not for the purpose of immigration alone. We do see what I explain to people a lot is you need to be able to provide, and I'm sure you know this, you have to put an application that really goes above and beyond to show that you're genuinely married. So there's
not just minimum,
not just minimum,
just more and more.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting? I find that for sponsorship applications that I see, they have to prove so much more that they are actually married genuinely. And not only that, they have to do more things that other couples that are not applying for immigration will not need to do. Like, for example, most of the immigration officers like to see a joint bank statement.
Yes.
It's not every married couple that actually have it. So are you saying if I don't have a joint statement, I'm not legitimately married? So it's interesting.
But I do advise them to provide like e-transfers, like
or
like that you bought groceries together.
A joint life, pretty much, right? Financial jointness, if you want to call it that. But to the appeal part of things, sometimes there are hiccups to these love stories, right? Where you want to sponsor your partner or your spouse, and then you have an unfortunate refusal. That's really where we come in.
Yeah.
You have to act fast, essentially, because there are deadlines to everything with appeals and judicial reviews, right? So I think it's about 30 days for you to initiate these types of things. So we have appealed a lot of it to the Immigration Appeal Division. And we've gotten a lot of success in the process, but it could take some time, right? It could take up to a year sometimes a bit less, sometimes a bit more. It depends on how complex the case is, right? But there is some light at the end of the tunnel anyways.
Oh, 100%. I feel like sponsorship will get like a better promising success rate versus, let's say, maybe even a refugee. So
yeah, I mean, it depends on who your lawyer is and your case.
Yeah, that's very true. So specialist matters as well, but I feel like you cannot also promise or guarantee approval, right? Because every case is different, and it's all about RCC decision in the end.
Exactly.
Right? As much as you care yourself for your client, if the RCC decides something or IRB decides
comes
something,
down to the officer's decision, right?
Perfect. So before we finalize our podcast, I have like
Okay.
short lightning round. So you
All right,
have
this
to
is the
answer.
fun part.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So you have to answer really quick some questions.
Okay.
So let's say I'll ask you coffee or tea, and you have to answer pretty quick. Okay. So
Okay.
coffee or tea?
I'll try. Coffee, for
Coffee.
sure.
Sponsorship inside Canada or overseas?
Oh, man. I'll
quick.
say sponsorship inside Canada.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Why so, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, because they're already together.
Okay.
You know, and then the couple can at least be together while their application is, being processed. So that's why
a
I
great
like
way
it.
to look at it.
Yeah.
I sometimes like overseas because it's faster processing time right now.
Yeah, but then again, sometimes you can't really trust IRCC with processing times, especially today's time.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Most misunderstood immigration pathway.
Most misunderstood immigration pathway. I think it's the asylum case, and I say that because it's very confusing to a person who doesn't have like a very strong background in law, and also because there's ChatGPT misleading people.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Most common mistake people make in the immigration case.
Most common mistake is oh man, that's a tough one because there's a lot of mistakes that people make. The most common mistake that I see is either submitting information to the wrong place, or just omitting documents or omitting information.
For me, I think they think it's not serious. Like let's say they will submit application, will make mistake. It's okay. I don't remember my 10 years work history.
Yeah, but it causes a lot of problems.
It causes a lot of problems.
It's very formal.
Yeah. So one thing you wish clients understood before booking a consultation.
One thing I wish clients understood before booking a consultation. Ah, man. A lot of things, but the one that jumps up to my mind in terms of what clients should understand is there are several ways that things can be done. So just try to have your information and your documents together as much as possible, because it's a limited time. So come prepared. If I'm going to make it short, just come prepared one way or the other. Yeah.
And I want to hear this one. Hardest type of file emotionally for you, because you're dealing with a lot of emotional files.
Okay, so the hardest type is one that we haven't discussed today, and it's stay of removals. So it gets very complex in stay of removals. So very briefly, stay of removals is where a person is being deported from the country, and you can go to the court, to the federal court of Canada, and try to bring a motion for that. To stop the removal, essentially.
Pre-removal risk assessment as well.
It's kind of intertwined, right? But particularly stay of removals definitely would be my answer to that 100%, because it gets very, very emotional there on both ends. Because if you win, it's very emotional to win, and we've had a lot of that as well. But at the same time, if you don't, then it's equally very emotional.
Okay, so I would say, what's your final advice to listeners of this podcast?
I'll say this is not legal advice, first of all. This is just personal advice. As far as it has to do with immigration, I would say do a bit of research, on the things that you want to do in terms of your immigration prospect, and also do a research on the immigration practitioner that you hire. That is very important, because a lot of things.
Consultants, right?
Not ghost consultants. Try to take one extra step. If somebody tells you about
not a friend's advice, right?
No, definitely not. So just definitely do a bit of research on the immigration representative that you actually hire, because there's a lot of unfortunate stories that I hear. So that would be
I heard so many people like, my consultant put it like a wrong experience, or
it happens a lot.
Different education that never existed.
Or you might just hire someone that's completely fraudulent and just disappears. That happens a lot. It's
crazy.
It's a real thing.
My advice on this topics that we were discussing today are based mainly on work permits and just your extensions. Don't wait till last minute. Okay?
Definitely not.
I had clients like even recently coming to me like a day before the work permit or visitor visa or anything expiring.
Act early.
Like, you cannot do that, because we can technically save you last minute and then provide like extra proofs in the web forms and whatever.
Yes.
But it's better to have like at least 3 months, I would say, to prepare. Because you might need translation of documents. You might need some specific documentation that you have to get from home.
And it takes time.
It takes time.
Yeah, some of these things take time. So sometimes last minute is definitely that's a good one, actually.
So on this note, I thank you so much, Naga. It was a pleasure having you.
And
I thank you everyone for listening to this podcast. Thank you.
Thank you.